Bonjour, Kinamagi and Nene Ireland Indigenous, and welcome to our next reading episode. Today's episode from Support Coach, My Castle, the first read. All right, we'll begin this lesson with talking about context clues. Context means using the words around it to help define an unknown word. When you come across a new word, use context clues to figure out its meaning. Context clues are words, phrases, and sentences located near a word that give hints about what the word means. Look at the example sentence. My brother and sister are complete opposites. He is painfully shy, but she is a complete extrovert. The underlying words are context clues for the word extrovert. They tell you that an extrovert is the opposite of a shy person, an outgoing person. And we look at that, and we see that brother and sister are opposites. That means one is one way, one's the other. If he's shy, the opposite of shy is outgoing, or in this case, extroverted, which is the opposite of introverted, which is someone that is shy. Let's try it. We have the following sentence from My Castle. I have a beautiful castle with towers and battlements fair. You may not know the word battlements, but the words castle and towers are context clues that help you figure out its meaning. Discuss, brainstorm the definitions for the word battlement. I would do this by saying, okay, I picture a castle. I've got these 800-year-old medieval castles in my mind. And then I stop and say, okay, we got towers and battlements. And I know the word battle has to do with war. So maybe these towers and these battlements are towers of some sort. And that's kind of how I would go about trying to infer a definition of a word by looking at it. There's a few others that you can practice along the way, and we'll do one together. And that word is pomp from page 39 of My Castle. And let's go over to it. You see that it's one of the highlighted words. And let's look at that stanza. And where is this wonderful castle with its rich emblazonings, whose pomp so far surpasses the homes of the greatest kings? So now I'm going to picture wonderful castles, rich emblazonings. So it's got all kinds of stuff. And I'm picturing the homes of the greatest kings. So it's not just some medieval king who's got 12 acres and a mule. It's going to be something amazing. Things that you would see if you were watching about Camelot or one of those mythical places. And I also know that pomp is a word in a song called Pomp and Circumstances. So it's something that's going to be amazing or great. So that kind of gives me that beginning. I could go ahead and Google the word after and check my answer. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to do that by opening up another tab. And that's something you can do when you're doing your work. Mine's moving a little slow. So I can do what I wanted to do. So I go to the m-w.com. That's short for merriam-webster.com. So that'll take you there. Dictionary.com is another good one. I don't necessarily endorse either one. I just happen to use m-w.com. Now I'm going to put in the word pomp. Let's do it in the dictionary. And you saw that there are some other words that were right after, like pompous. And we know that's someone who's very boastful. All right. So the word pomp, a show of magnificence, splendor, a ceremonial or festival display, such as a train or flowers of a pageant, an ostentatious display. So we're going to go with splendor, and let's see if that works out in our sentence or in our stanza here. And where's this wonderful castle with its rich emblazonings, whose splendor so far surpasses the homes of the greatest kings? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense in this. So that's kind of how we use those context clues. Let's return to our original page here. Let's go to practicing the skill, figurative language. There are numerous types of figurative language. We're going to look at similes and metaphors for sure in this part, but there are others. Onomatopoeia, personification, things that add beauty, interest, and excitement, and depth of feeling to a poem. So I'm going to read at the beginning, even though I'm going to repeat a line I just said. Poets often use language to express something beyond what the words literally mean. This special use of language is called figurative language. Figurative language can add beauty, interest, excitement, and depth of feeling to a poem. Some figurative language makes comparisons between two things that are actually not alike. By comparing two very different things, the poet makes you think of them in a new way. For example, a poet might say, the baby's cheeks were like peaches. This kind of comparison is a simile. Similes use the word like or as to make a comparison. Another kind of comparison is metaphor. Metaphors make direct comparisons. They do not use the word like or as. Her hair was a cascading waterfall is an example of a metaphor. So immediately, if I'm thinking simile, I'm looking for the words like or as. If I don't see those and it's making comparison, then it's more likely a metaphor. Let's look from these stanzas from the poem Wintertime by Robert Louis Stevenson. Late lies the wintry sun abed, a frosty, fiery, sleepy head. Blinks but an hour or two, and then a blood red orange sets again. Black are my steps on silver sod. Thick blows my frosty breath abroad. And tree and house and hill and lake are frosted like a wedding cake. So I see in that we have a metaphor that the wintry sun is a frosty, fiery, sleepy head. It's telling you the sun is something else. And then we see here, frosted like a wedding cake. That'll give you a simile. All right, so we're going to ask you now to return back into your Google Classroom for your next directions. Bon appétit.